Welcome to another episode of The Lockdown, hosted by myself, Adam Cuthberston, and brought to you by L Natural Skincare. You can check out L Natural Skincare at www.lnaturals.uk. Today on the program, I am very lucky to have sat with me a very special guest who holds a world record for participating in the greatest number of different sports on his Saturday morning program on the slot of BBC One. The very talented and very energetic Mike Bushell. How you doing, mate?
What an honour! I wouldn't say energetic, yes, but you've seen me on the rugby field. Not talented, but I give things a go.
You're talented, mate. You have a crack at everything.
Yeah, the time I came to the Rhinos when I was in the bubble.
Is it a case of maybe being like a little bit good at everything? Like I'm a bit like that, like a jack of all, but master of none, sort of thing. Yeah. Besides, obviously, your day job. That's what you're best at. Yeah, so I'm
looking forward to going back on Wednesday.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm self-isolating for a couple of weeks after we had a few symptoms, but it was nothing more than not even a cold, really, in the end. Yeah. So we're lucky we didn't have very severe symptoms. I don't know if it even was the virus, but you have to lock down for 2 weeks if you have any symptoms, don't you? So
you've currently been stood down for about 2 weeks, then?
Yeah, back on Wednesday.
Right.
Back on Wednesday up to Salford. But obviously we'll not be doing any filming of different sports until all this is over, because that involves getting stuck in with people, and you can't really do that at the moment.
Oh, mate, I was going to say, like, for yourself, you cover sports, don't you? So how is that going to affect? What sort of a knock-on effect?
It's been strange, yeah. It's been more stories like this morning. They were doing things like Marcus Rashford, helping out with food banks and children that are off school. And it's reporting what all the sports stars, like what yourself are doing.
Yeah.
Doing to keep people entertained, keep people occupied, suggestions for lockdown, like the Max Whitlock workout. You know, so many people have come online with their own ways of helping people, because it's so strange, isn't it, being cooped up indoors for weeks on end.
That's right, yeah. For yourself, how important do you find the interaction us people that maybe in the public eye, such as the sports people or the actors or whatever, how important do you find that to keep creating content for viewers at home and fans?
Yeah, it's been absolutely vital, and it seems to be increasing. It started with the Keep You Up challenge with the toilet rolls, didn't it? With a few sports.
I got involved with that. I don't know if you've seen it, but I got involved with
that. Yeah. So it's been great to see that, but then it's really just exploded. It's been fantastic.
Yeah.
The way sports stars have been connecting. I guess because sports stars at home it must be frustrating not training in the usual way, so they want to connect in a way with fans that they've never done before. So that's been a real positive out of this whole thing. Talking to fans, putting videos up for fans. It's been brilliant to see almost the other side of how sports stars live at home, how they train at home, how they keep fit, just with basic exercises you can do around your lounge. So I think in a way it's probably helped fans to get to know the stars that we come and watch and cheer on better, in a way.
Yeah. It's probably, I suppose it probably helps you guys to get to know us a bit better too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it gives us something to report on as well, because there's no actual action at the moment. I mean, there's a few virtual sports going on. There's the virtual Grand National this weekend.
Yeah, that would be good. You're covering it.
Yeah, well, yeah, I will be, but obviously down on an iPad or whatever it is. Also, there's been virtual sailing regattas, all sorts of funny sports on. I think there's the Quarantine Football League, isn't there, with all the teams playing each other online. So there's been quite a few creative ways that people have been keeping sport going. But yeah, eventually we might have to be even more creative as to what we report on, because we've got to fill a few minutes. But then I suppose eventually sports will start coming back. Things will start getting happy again.
Fingers crossed it's not the way of the future, that online stuff, because we all still need jobs.
Oh, exactly. Well, I did a piece a year ago on the FIFA Football World Cup, and it was held in this cinema in London.
Yeah.
And these young lads, 19, 20-year-olds, they were now playing for their clubs. They'd been picked by a club, and they were playing World Championships, World Cups around the world. They were earning 200,000, 300,000 a year.
Yeah.
They've been told off by their parents for years and years for going on the FIFA PlayStation too much, but then they've become professional at it. But yeah, their skills are better doing that than when we went for a kick around in the actual park afterwards. I was able to run rings around them there.
What on earth am I doing putting my body on the line every week where I could be 200,000 just twiddling my thumbs?
Yeah.
Crazy, isn't it?
Different world, isn't it? I do prefer the real thing.
Yeah. It's funny though. I think with all this content coming out, it's enabling some of the players to actually find comfort in coming out of their sort of comfort zone, out of their skin, and correct, because I've never seen so much of it in my whole life as I've seen this last couple of weeks since lockdown's begun. So I think it'll be brilliant for some of the players going forward in a lesson how they can sort of be themselves without worrying about, sort of the criticism they're going to get back from it.
Yeah. But I think football's been the big one, because I think rugby league, to be fair, we've always been really good at connecting with fans. It's quite a close-knit community. I found it really accessible. You go to matches, and if you do bump into a player, everyone's really chatty and friendly, talk about the game, so you can go for a beer and stuff. Whereas football, I suppose, I have been a bit more isolated away from the fans. But to see last week all the Everton players actually ringing lonely and vulnerable fans on the telephone, having a good old chat with them, was really refreshing, really good to see. And I think it will help football especially connect. They're probably the most distanced in the past because, I guess, of the attention they get and, all the publicity and the focus, I suppose, naturally they're going to be. Now, hopefully, it'll bring everybody together a bit more.
I was lucky to speak to yesterday in an interview to Robert Hoof, who has won 3 titles now in the Premier League with Chelsea and with Leicester City. The last one, he's currently retired. And he was saying a similar thing that rugby. Well, we broke it down by Mad Mondays, I think, in the sense of what they did and what we do, where we're very much involved in the community, I suppose, now. So it's brilliant that if football can find that connection with its fans, outstanding. And unfortunately, it might have taken this, but if it's the way, if it brings fans through and feel a bit more appreciated going forward, that's the way
absolutely,
the way it had to be.
Yeah, and it would build trust between the two sides, wouldn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
Almost see them as more ordinary guys, who are very good at sport. But they can get to know them as human beings, good, decent people.
Oh, mate, if you meet a few of them, you probably have in your time. They're just regular blokes like me. Yeah. They've obviously they've got a bigger spotlight on them, so it's just a little bit harder. But you get a moment with them to have an actual chat.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Great blokes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you see what happens when some of them retire. They can be a bit more free, can't they? Like Peter Crouch podcast. Sometimes their clubs have quite a strict code on what they can say and what they can put on social media, so they have to be, role models, well behaved. But as soon as they leave, they can be a bit free in terms of entertaining or breaking more into comedy, like Peter Crouch, and show the other side, which has been pretty good like yourself.
So you've been locked up for a few days now. I understand your wife got some symptoms first. Yeah. It's okay now. Everyone at the house, kids, fighting.
Yeah. Because I live with my wife Emily and stepson Josh, who's 10, but my actual daughters, 3 of them, they're sort of older now, 23, 20 and 17.
Right.
And they live about 12 miles away, but because the isolation lockdown came, I haven't been able to see them. But we've been talking on, social media, on the various apps you can get, so you can see them in Vision, House Party, whatever it is, Zoom. But I haven't actually seen them now for 2 weeks, and probably won't now until this whole lockdown's over.
Yeah.
The lockdown's going to be the people in your house, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
But at first we felt, it's like sort of Christmas Day, isn't it? You get the games out, good food, play around in the garden, but then it's like 20 or so Christmas days on the trot now. And you realise I've got to do some work as well. So I've been doing, not weekends so much, but I've been doing some pieces. I did a piece on different things you can do at home, the workouts, the creative games you can just create around your house. A frying pan and a ping pong ball against the wall in the kitchen. You can set up your own little centre court with bits of sticky tape or whatever. Create some games around the house. Then I did a piece about the efforts footballers and sports stars are doing, like we were talking about. So it's funny to try and work where you film everything. Well, I get my wife to film it on the phone and then bring it to TV. So I've done a few of those. So that's been a learning curve. I've learned new skills like that. Keeping active in the garden. We've got some space hoppers. One thing, you can still get things delivered. Yeah,
I found that. You can't in the US now. Amazon have cancelled.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was lucky though, because I've got a space hopper, 3 space hoppers now, a hula hoop and a skipping rope. And that's good in the garden for keeping active. Space hoppers, you can have show jumping. You set up some little fences and just get some show jumping.
All right. Yeah, I got you.
Back to the back. Don't do yourself an injury on my recommendation.
I pulled the skateboard out the other day and started skateboarding around the back, the front yard there, and I've been looking online for like a basketball hoop or something because I love just
great
hoops and that. But you can't just go down the local park at the minute because
no.
If you get caught, obviously there's some ramifications.
Yeah, if you've got a hoop on the wall, that'd be just great. Just for
mate,
shooting some hoops and stuff. So it's so important to keep active. They've probably done more running and more cycling than ever.
Yeah,
about if you want cycle or run a day. But it's funny because you do have to keep that. It's strange keeping the distance for even people you know. You have to sort of go away from them, don't you, on the path or on the bike? Just give them a big 2 metre distance. That's been strange getting used to.
You're telling me
you spoke to a lot more people online. You speak to a lot more, you connect with a lot more people, family members even that you haven't spoken to. You never really speak to on the phone, but now suddenly everyone's on different apps on the screen, chatting away with a cup of tea in the evening, or playing.
I suppose that's a blessing about the whole thing. Everyone's sort of starting to connect again. Like, I'm probably calling mum more than I ever have.
Yeah. And how many quizzes have you done? Have you done all these online quizzes? That's another new thing.
I've done. I think I've done about 3 or 4. The missus kept sending them to me, but I think the last one was in our team group one, and it boggled me. So I just To be honest, I've been finding a lot more to do now than I may have. When I'm just going to train and coming home. You know what I mean?
You have to be creative to fill your time, find new ideas, don't you?
Yeah. You're telling me this morning about your online community and getting active together and that. Tell us a bit more about it.
Oh, that's been another revelation. So it started when I was doing this piece. So my mum had always said, she's 76, I think now. She's always said, come and do a Zumba class with me.
Yeah.
She does Zumba up in Yorkshire.
Yeah.
In a place called Ripon. And I'm down south at the moment and then travel up to work. And so it's a long way for me to go. But the first week of isolation, I joined a Zumba class on Zoom. So there was about 15 people all in, it's like celebrity squares, all in little boxes.
Yeah.
And they had the teacher in one box, mum down there, and I did the whole Zumba class and really enjoyed it. I wasn't very good.
Nah.
Everyone could see you because you've got your iPad there, you're being filmed, and it's up there in front of everybody else. And then from there, I did a bit of yoga, a couple of fitness workouts. I joined a running club as well, Chipping and Harrier. So you go and do a run on your phone, but you video a bit of it, and then you send it in. And then usually after the running, Tuesday nights or whatever, the Chipping and Harriers always go to their local pub in Wiltshire, but they can't do that at the moment. So everyone joined in the living room, having got a beer, and there on the big screen, there's about 15 people all in their living rooms. It was as if we were at the pub.
Yeah.
Some people there had crisps, sandwiches, couples sat there on the sofa eating their sandwiches and nibbling their crisps, and we chatted about the runs we'd done, how far, how fast, anything we saw, if you saw a deer or a hare or something, or and it was like being down the pub, and that was really strange. And they do that,
isn't it?
So they've kept that running club going, even though they're running on their own.
Yeah.
And then they get together afterwards for a social. So there's so many things that I've been doing. As I say, the circuits this morning. So first thing I did was roll out of bed. There's a woman in the village called Emma Davis, and she does a circuits class normally on a Tuesday. Her business is booming because normally she does 2 classes a week, but now she does one at 7:30 in the morning, one at 9. So I joined, and again everyone was in their little squares doing the squat jumps and the burpees. She's driving it. She wasn't actually doing it, I have to say. She was just instructing from her window screen. That was for an hour, just about this morning. So that was the way the day usually starts now. So she's getting more people coming to those classes, even though they're online.
I imagine for yourself or for anyone in the class, it'd be a lot harder because you're actually being focused on. Because as an instructor, you probably don't get to watch the entire class. So you can't see who's slacking, but with you on the screen, you just go, "Hey, Mike, get up."
The camera was set so that when I was doing the press ups, I could just disappear and then pop up.
I like it.
Yeah. And then
just sneak off for a quick coffee and then come back and push up. Last one.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Just make sure you angle the camera so you're not always in vision.
Yeah. So you strategically set the camera up for those classes.
Oh, I'm just doing out of shot. Yeah, exactly. Or just playing your camera skills. But that's been a revelation doing those classes. I've probably done more of those than ever.
Yeah.
I suppose because you've got the time, and it's just that need to keep active and fit, isn't it? Because otherwise we'd go mad, I think, wouldn't we, in isolation? There's only so many box sets you can watch and work you can do in the evenings and in the early mornings. And it sets you up for the day. So I feel I can go and do some work now, probably fresher and fitter in mind than I would have been if I had not done that circuits class.
That's right.
You can get on with research, finding out what's going on this week, trying to set some stories up, finding out what people are doing out there, and maybe filming it at some point this week.
I think that's a really important message, Like, I think a lot of people find themselves in like a slump. I suppose you could call it when you're stuck indoors most of the time, especially over like if you consider the UK winters. It's very easy to be drawn into the house and stay in the house all day. But if you get yourself up and you get going, you get some exercise in. How much easier do you find it to just find some momentum through the day because of it.
Yeah, and what I found as well, it's so much
Stimulate.
easier rolling out the bed, downstairs, whatever you find, put on, switch on the computer on the telly, do the circuits class here in the living room, and say getting dressed properly, having a shower, you're getting in a car, having brushed your teeth, driving to the circuits class. Because if you find yourself running late, I've missed it now, you wouldn't do it. Then you just go to work as normal. But if you can just roll and do it in your lounge and get the same amount of exercise, that's another revelation to come out of this whole thing, isn't it? The fact that you can do it so easily without getting in the car, and you're more committed to doing it. I think it's easier to do it if you haven't got to go through the whole routine of getting out of the house to just do it. And hopefully that'll be something that lasts as well. When this is all over, you can still do the circuits class even if you don't make it down the road.
You're saying you did a bit of Zumba this morning. You must be you must impress people in those classes these days.
Oh, Zumba.
With your
Zumba's really hard.
With your new hip sort of skills.
On Strictly, the one dance I didn't do was the salsa.
Yeah.
For a reason, I think. The Zumba, I found it hard to keep up. It took me with Katia Jones, the partner on Strictly, it took me about a day to learn a few moves. But the Zumba, it's all happening instantly. It was like, why are you leaving me behind? It takes me so long to get it. So just to join a class like that was mind-boggling. I was way behind everybody else. Yeah, I don't think they were very impressed.
With working for the BBC now, is there any sort of news that you're getting from behind the scenes that you're speaking about going back to work on Wednesday? But I know throughout the country, a lot of people have been stood down for the obvious reasons. How is it affecting the BBC at the minute?
Well, what I know for breakfast, they've taken many steps to try and get the social distancing. So, for example, on the sofa where you normally have a presenter sat, you have in the middle 2 news presenters, say Charlie and Nagel or Dan and Louise here, and then the sport would be there where that coffee cup is, and then the business would be there. Well, that's all changed. Dan and Louise, the 2 main presenters, are sat now over 2 meters apart, either end of the sofa. It's a lot bigger than this. So they have to keep their distance right throughout the morning and sit apart the whole time. Then business is in a different room on their own, just in front of their computer, a bit like this. And then when I go back to do sport, that'll be from downstairs. So I won't physically actually see the other presenters at all. I'll go in on my own, log in. There'll be an editor for sport that morning, probably the other side of the desks. So I won't even get near to them. I'll just wave and we can talk on the computer. Everybody else will be working on their iPads from home. And then I'll just stand up, switch the camera on, stand up in front of it and do the sport to a little camera like that. And that'll be upstairs. So it's a totally different way of working, but it means it keeps the programme going. Yeah. And because most of it obviously is news and the weather for the day. But I'm glad they're keeping a little bit of sport in there as well. Because it's important to know what the sporting world's doing. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think so. Especially with the events looking further ahead, whether they're going to be on. We still don't know about Wimbledon. We expect an announcement on that this week. There's the football seasons, all the rugby seasons to decide whether they're going to finish or not, especially the Premier League and the Championship in football. Any gossip about the football season? Well, no, you read different things every day. Yeah. So there was Gundogan, the Manchester City player, I think, saying he should hand it towards Liverpool, the title to Liverpool. But there's Harry Kane saying unless it's done by the end of June, you can't really extend it beyond that. So I think the feeling is that if it can be started in May sometime, they'll be able to get it finished. Right. Even early June. If it goes on much beyond that, then some difficult decisions are going to be made. And do you nullify the whole season like they've done to all the football leagues below the National League? So first couple of tiers of the non-league, they've nullified the whole season. So you feel like some of the clubs, I think it was Jersey Royals, had a great season, but that season counts for nothing now. So I know that there's all sorts of things going on legally with those clubs and what they're going to do about it. Whether they could do that for the Premier League and the Championship and the football leagues, it's hard to know because, again, you'd have the legal side of things to consider, the financial side, or do you go the other way and say, okay, let's finish the season as it is? I heard one option, not even an option being discussed by the professional, but it was just one theory bandied around, was that you could hand the league title to Liverpool. Yeah. Because they're so far ahead. But don't have anybody relegated from the Premier League. Instead, promote the teams that are clear, West Brom and Leeds, I think 7 and 6 points clear of third place in the Championship, and then have 22 teams in the Premier League next season. But then what do you say to clubs like Fulham, Nottingham Forest, Preston, Bristol City, all those clubs going to the playoffs and trying to catch West Brom? Because there's still, 9 games to go. They could catch Leeds and West Brom, especially someone like Fulham. Yeah. Where Dan, but would that be the simplest way of saying, okay, Liverpool have won it, Leeds, West Brom up, nobody relegated? Would that be the less damaging option? But then, what do you say to Fulham and Nottingham Forest who are chasing promotion? Do you still have a playoff? It's a minefield. That's only just the one sport, football. It's the same in all sports, really. What do you do about the rest of the season? I think if they can start in May or early June, they can get it done, playing two twice.
I'm glad I'm not making that decision.
That's cool. Oh, absolutely.
That'd be a tough one to make. Are you a Leeds United fan?
I am actually, yeah.
Leeds
so, try not to be biased.
I had to ask whether you're being biased or not, but because I've asked a few people now, and I suppose a few of them have been a bit biased towards Leeds United and their position going straight up. But then I asked Robert yesterday, and he said, "No, got to earn going up. Got to finish the season to go up." So, so it's good to see it from different views.
Yeah, no, oh, absolutely. I hope. I mean, that's the 99%. I've got you. You just hope the season can be finished. That's the only real option you hope for, really. Since to do it way would just be a minefield of problems. And I hope they can. I hope they can finish it. But as you say, there will be tough decisions that have to be made at some point. And then Leeds will just say, as Leeds fans will do, it will be the curse again if they don't go up after 15 years because of what happened when they were so, playing so well for a second season running. But the worries for Leeds, whether the team would then start to dismantle.
Yeah.
Financially, could they take it? I mean, I know the owner has been fantastic with the money he's been talking about already, the implications it's having financially. I know the players have agreed to a wage deferral, so they were leading the way on that. It's a massive thing for everybody to consider and all clubs to deal with financially. I mean, it's a huge thing to deal with.
As a Leeds fan, what would it mean for them to go up this year?
It would mean everything because of the way they've played for the last two seasons under Bielsa. Football has been just incredible at times. Just brilliant to watch, worthy of the Premier League easily. And just the way he's transformed players, the club as a whole. I can't remember really a better time since the early 2000s before they went bust and went into administration. And to do it that way, to go out playing so well and these scoreboard goals. I mean, I've been a Leeds fan since the 70s in Hertfordshire. I wasn't even born there, but it was like glory hunter when you're 5 at school. Everybody in the classroom was Leeds.
Yeah.
Oh, you're Leeds. I was 5 years old. So
poor 5-year-old stuck in the...
living near sort of London, really. But then I did move up to Harrogate when I was 11. So I don't see Leeds a lot in the second division in the 80s.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And, of course, Leeds got great Australian connections, haven't they, with the likes of Duke and
Well, that's basically how sort of I never followed anyone. Obviously, I adopted Leeds when I moved to Leeds, and I think I've adopted the city as well. Like I've really felt very welcomed here in Leeds. I've really loved my time here. So I took on Leeds. My old man's a Liverpool supporter, but I have to say Leeds first. It's quite a good year for my family, really. Me being a Leeds supporter and the old man being a Liverpool supporter.
Yeah, exactly. The last time Liverpool won it, 1990, that was the year Leeds went up. So the two tend to go together, Liverpool and Leeds.
Yeah.
And all the thing I love about Leeds is the close affiliation, isn't it, between the Rhinos and Leeds United.
Right.
Yeah, they go to a Rhinos match. Everyone's singing marching on together. That's really good. So that's what, Rhinos and United for me.
Well, there's definitely a way about winning things in Leeds, and I think we always do it the hardest way, the toughest way. So if we go up this year, I'm sure we'll earn it, and it won't be easy, but we'll get the job done. I think the club's been run brilliantly at the minute.
Yeah, it is.
I think with the way it's been run and how it's been coached, I think what's important is getting up, because I genuinely think that if they get up, they could actually turn some heads up in the Premier League.
I think you're actually right. The foundations are really secure under Radriansi. He's done a brilliant job building secure foundations. I think you're right. If they go up, the support around the world, and there'll be, as someone actually said this season, it'll be an unstoppable force.
Yeah.
I think it was Ron Savage who said that. There'll be an unstoppable force, an unstoppable train once they go up, which will be interesting to see. Yeah, it would be exciting. Really exciting. I don't think they'll be there to make up the numbers.
Yeah. You've been in lockdown 12 to 2 weeks, 12 days, sorry. 12 days or 2 weeks, did you say?
2 weeks today, actually. Yeah.
2 weeks today. How did you prepare? I mean, I'm asking this question because there's a lot of people out there that have rushed out and really hoarded stuff to bring back in. And I was out this morning and I went down to Tesco just to pick up some food for the young fella, and it was actually like queues going out the car. Like I couldn't believe it was like apocalyptic stuff. It was crazy.
Yeah. We live in a small town. There's a co-op and the grocers, and actually the local grocer, he's done really well out of it.
Yeah.
It's just his own business, and normally people may just use the big supermarkets in the nearby bigger towns or cities, but they've been using him a lot more. So he does deliveries of vegetables, and he's been doing really well. The local co-op, you have to do this thing where you queue outside a metre apart or 2 metres apart, and then they let, I think, 3 people in one by one at a time. So there's only ever 3 people doing their shop. So it takes a while. But yeah, we've just been, luckily we had a full freezer beforehand anyway, eating the freezer food. So you learn to make meals with what you've got. But you can still get milk down there, bread down there, go down every couple of days just to get the essentials. And I haven't really noticed, apart from you can only buy one of everything. So you can only buy.
That's right.
I did manage to buy 2 cucumbers.
Did you?
2 bags of chilies. But that was it. No more than
essentials.
Yeah, 2 bags of chilies. And you can still get beer and wine if you want. And there was hand sanitizer. There was toilet roll, plenty.
Oh, where you been shopping at? I can't find any hand sanitizer.
Oh, yeah, no, just the local. It's quite a small store, I guess.
Yeah.
They've been sort of raided as much as the big ones for people hoarding and stuff. But I haven't seen too much hoarding at the moment.
Yeah.
The early days it was worse, but now certainly, you can get what you need. But it does take a while because you have that queuing system up the street.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm at the point where I've actually ordered on Amazon the ingredients to make my own antibacterial hand wash and sanitizer. So when we go out and that.
Yeah, brilliant.
Because
Have you been brewing it yourself, mixing it yourself?
Well. So I told you the company I have,
All
Natural Skincare. So I do very similar products in the sense where it's not too different to make this, the batches of, like, say, moisturizers and soaps. There's only a few different ingredients you still can tweak.
Yeah.
However, so I've got a fair bit of that at home. However, the hand sanitizer and stuff has got some things in it because I'm doing a lot of natural products, and a lot of natural products don't really have a lot of antibacterial sort of agents in them. So, otherwise, because it dries the skin out really bad, as you notice when you put that alcohol antibacterial, it really dries your hands out.
Yeah, it does.
So, I don't have too much of that. So I've ordered a bit of some alcohol, rubbing alcohol online just to add to a few things to create it myself. I thought it'd be interesting to create it. It's always interesting to learn new things, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So I thought I'd do that maybe today or tomorrow, depending on, or we've sort of run out. And like I said, it's tough to find it in the shop. So a lot of people at home probably won't realise, but if you just Google, if you run out of hand sanitizer and you're worried, or you run out of hand wash and you're worried, just Google it. It's quite easy to find the ingredients, and then you can just go online onto your Amazon account or your eBay account. And most, I know it's a bit, I suppose the online shopping's a bit delayed at the minute in terms of deliveries. But if you go on there, you tend to find it will turn up in 2 to 3 days. So.
Yeah, got plenty of stuff off there. Yeah.
Do you ever?
I started growing vegetables and chilies and peppers in the garden just from seeds you get on Amazon, and they've turned up. And
I was just about to ask, do you have any hobbies like that? You're going to start growing things?
This couple of weeks, just starting to grow stuff: strawberries, peppers, chilies. I mean, they haven't even sprouted yet because it's been too cold.
Yeah.
Trouble that northern wind, that northerly wind. Plants, got the garden done. Yeah, gardening's been great actually.
I think that's great though, because not many people would have been in a position where they felt like they could do it. But I think because you got all this time, you have a crack, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah, normally I've never had the time, but in the evenings or early morning, first thing, get up and water them. Then again, it's a good way of getting outside, get a bit of exercise as well as a bit of fresh air.
Yeah,
I think healthy stuff. It's almost forcing us to live in a sort of healthier way, isn't it? With the exercise, getting a bit more fresh air in the garden, doing a bit of family planting. It's having time for things, isn't it? Rather than the rush, dash, deadline, rush, dash, traffic. It's missing a train, catching a train. It's a whole new way of working and thinking.
And you've got all the time in the world, so.
Eh?
And you've got all the time in the world, so why not?
I've started seeing online things like the Venice canals are now crystal clear.
Yeah.
Cities in America are reporting like 90% reduction in pollution. crazy. I mean, I haven't been on the road for literally, apart from just in the little town for a while.
There's a lot of conspiracies being tossed up. In fact, I've seen the government this morning is trying to do a crackdown on people sending out false information over over social medias and that, because obviously it can be quite destructive and be detrimental to people. Yeah, cool. If they're receiving false information. There has been a few conspiracies popped up. I asked Stevie Ward, my teammate, the other day, if he had any, and he said he thinks it's all due to 5G network.
I saw that, yeah, because in 2000, when Foot and Mouth, there was a new network, wasn't there?
Yeah.
I thought it was a joke. And then 2000, was it 9 swine flu? There's a new network, and now there's 5G. Yeah, I did see that on those. Which
is ultimately coronavirus. But the way we were sort of talking then, it seems like we both sort of would agree to disagree that this might be the way of the world sort of replenishing itself. And
that's certainly a theory behind that, isn't there? Yeah, I've heard that. Because you've got to try and look at the positives in these horrible times, difficult times. And there will be some new ways of doing things that come out of this.
Yeah,
of changing life for good. Whether we think more about resources and how we treat the world and our normal way of life, it may sort of ask us to reset at the end of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there's these conspiracy theories all over. That's why they have the Mythbusters, don't they, on the BBC website, where you can these myths or theories, conspiracy theories, and get any truth behind them. Because I had so many, had things like garlic can beat the virus, chilies can beat the virus, but no, I don't think they can.
No, I don't think garlic's doing anything. Garlic's just giving you bad breath, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I just went for a run yesterday morning, just trying to keep some upkeep, just around the corner. My hour a day, as they say, you're allowed to have. Yeah. And I noticed that there's a lot more nature out. To be fair, obviously the streets are a lot quieter, but there's a lot more nature. And I was observing a lot of these beautiful birds flying around and that. And then I got down to the local park where I do my stair run. And I was only just thinking, like, the last back end of the stairs I was doing, how nice it's been because it's been so peaceful and you can hear all nature out and chirping and whatnot. Yeah. And then the last stair run, I see a bunch of rats like run across the stairs. I'm like, no, thank you.
No, not those.
I love that. I love nature, not those type of bit of nature. I flipping hate rats, mate.
Rats, me too. So what were they? Just a little family, were they running across?
I didn't stop them to ask. Hey guys, where are you off to?
Yeah. It should be more than two of you.
You know something I don't.
Same hole.
Yeah. Introduce myself. No, it's funny. So I opened up with the talented. I said the talented for a reason, because I've noticed over your career and from the get-go when you got into performing, you've had a number of different I suppose experiences in theatre. So I read that you've trained with the learning trade at National Youth Theatre.
Yeah, that's right. I was just in school in a big comprehensive in Harrogate and was in this play, and then the teacher puts you forward, you go down to London and audition for the National Youth Theatre. So it's been 4 years in that.
Yeah.
Playing skinheads in a Borstal. It was quite
great.
But yeah, it was a great experience, and then through that did a degree in drama, which was great just in terms of communication. And then I thought about acting, but then I was too much in debt, so that's when I just got a job on a local newspaper.
Yeah. So you actually was. Did you want to pursue acting first?
Well, I thought about it. I was a bit hammy though, a bit sort of over the top, so it probably wasn't that good at it.
Yeah.
But then I joined a band. I left the journalism job to join a band. We went around Europe, and then the stuff pinched from a van in Amsterdam. So we ended up just busking. So we had a good 6 months playing around Europe, but it never went anywhere. So I came back and started working for local newspapers again, doing the sport and the news.
Was that band you spoke of? Was that Don't Push the River?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, which is a Van Morrison lyric.
Nice.
So there's two bands. There was that one, and then Arthur the Stoat, which was based in Suffolk. So they're great fun, great things to do. But that was a long time ago, and it sort of helps broaden your experience, I guess, over the time, doesn't it?
I love music, and I'm into every genre. But you know what really confused me is the genre that you guys were categorized under.
Don't Push the River was a bit like the Stranglers.
Right.
Good keyboard player.
Yeah.
And then Arthur the Stoat was, I suppose you could describe it as psychedelic pop.
Yeah, that's what I read. I said English psychedelic folk pop. I'm like,
yeah. There's a sort of cello, had a violin, keyboard, guitar, obviously, the drums. But yeah, it was quite unusual.
What was your role in the band?
Just singing. That's all I could do. Well, that's debatable, but I couldn't play anything, unfortunately. Oh. I occasionally held a tambourine.
Yeah.
But I sort of danced around at the front and spouted some sort of singing. Whether it's singing or not is debatable.
Did you?
Great fun.
How many years did that last for? Were there any interesting stories along your journeys?
Oh yeah, we were at towns in France where this student union went berserk.
Really?
Up wrecking the bar. Not us.
Oh.
Watching it. Just they got a bit excited, and so they had a stern word from the manager afterwards saying, "You wrecked my bar." So, it wasn't us. It was annoying students. So we had to pay a bit of damage repair to the bar because I think just glasses got broken and stuff, lights got smashed. But it was the crowd got a bit rowdy, so that was quite fun.
What, you feel like you created the hype, and then they just
it was probably milked it too much, and everyone got a bit hyped up and excited, which was great. It was packed. And then we did this thing where when the stuff got pinched, we had to try and raise money busking around Europe, and you'd find that if you went going to a square in Luxembourg and you put a hat in the middle, if you just stood there playing, very few people would give.
Yeah.
Put a hat in the middle and then stood in bushes to the side of the little square. People would walk through, hear music. That's strange. You can't see anybody. And then they'll see you in the bush, and then they'll laugh and put money in. So we found that was quite effective.
So did you more or less live like on the road during these times?
Yeah.
That must have been some experience for you.
Oh yeah, we had a beaten up old van, cost about 600 quid. But yeah, it was 50 miles an hour top speed. It was an old Bedford, I think it was, Bedford van. It kept breaking down. In the end, it never made it back though. From I think it got broken down in Spain in the end in the Pyrenees. It took about 3 weeks to repair, so we ended up going to work on a vineyard picking grapes just to try and earn some money.
Really?
Yeah, because
what possessed you guys to get up and do that?
Playing in this man's bar in Sarlat in Dordogne with the van still in Spain, and then the season came to the end. He said, "Well, we've got no work. We've got to wait for your van to get back. I'll put you on a train. You can go do some grape picking for my friend." So we woke up near Lyon and did three.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How bizarre is that?
Nothing to do with the music. That was just so that was a little Did you learn a thing or two about how to make wine, or just drank it? No, what I did learn is the different, I suppose, the attributes of different countries. So
yeah,
this is not an exaggeration. There were a few Brits, and we'd always been going along, picking every grape, moaning, backs, I'm not joking. The Germans would be straight through, and at the end of the line, you'd be able to sit there and have a glass of wine. So they were all relaxed, chatting, having done their rows of grapes. We'd just get there, and the French guy would say, "Right, time for the next one." And I remember the Italians and the Belgians would be singing, so happy all the time. But the Brits, we were known for moaning.
Yeah.
The back. Whether we were picking every grape, we've been too meticulous, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was great fun. You all slept in bunk beds. You'll have porridge in the morning at 7. It rained a lot, so I remember. But no, I can't remember any tips about wine, unfortunately.
Brilliant.
Masson Village, I remember that was the area, the Masson Village.
Yeah.
But another great experience, make some good friends, and and on the way back, though, I do remember on the train on the way back, being woken up by this man with a machete, a young lad. I said, "You're English?" He said, "Yeah." Okay. But then managed to talk him round, and then he just sat down and had a chat with us. That was a bit scary after that.
So potentially being robbed into just having a
we
good old chin wag.
Didn't really have much.
That's great. Yeah. That's great. So I'll bring you back to the world record that I also announced you had. How did that come about? And was it something you pursued, or?
What it was back in 2006, when the sporting landscape was very different. The average school sports was only 3 or 4. And we did some research into breakfast sport, and at the end of the sport, we were noticing that there was still a drop-off. So people were putting on the kettle or going off when the sport came on, and then it would come back up again after we went off.
Right.
And started doing the sport on breakfast, and so they did some research, and people found that the sport was too mainstream and too narrow. That we were just a results service doing the last night's action, and we weren't doing anything to broaden the sporting spectrum, the sporting church. to bring those people in that felt they were rubbish or embarrassed at sport but didn't get involved. Okay, we were reporting the elite sport, but we weren't doing anything to broaden the horizons. And so I was walking through a forest with a dog near Reading, and suddenly all these dogs came through and pulling chariots of people riding on them. And mush, 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 mush. And it was an October day. It wasn't snowing. And this was the British Sled Dog Racing Association weekly meeting. And I went into the forest, and there were all these lorries and camper vans. There were dogs in jacuzzis. There was dogs on velvet cushions and back of these vans. About 100 of them. And it was, they'd all come over, camped. It was their meeting, that race week meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, this is amazing. And what do you get out of this? This is our passion. We win this bronze dog. I've got all these medals, all these trophies. How much do you spend on it? Oh, $7 or $8 grand. What? A year. So I thought, this is these people's passion. So I did a piece on it. I arranged to meet them. We did a piece on their sport. And I said, what else is out there for people? And so people started suggesting things like, oh, we do barefoot water skiing. We do hash house Harrier running. You follow the trail of flower. So many of these sports just coming up. This is 2006. And I thought, it'll only last 6 months. But it kept going. Suggestions kept coming more. And then I started seeing more sports being almost created.
Yes.
Invented in Easingwold in Yorkshire by 3 guys on the back of a beer mat. They called it Rocket Ball. It's now changed its name to VX. And it was a bit like tag dodgeball. You've got these sticks with these hoops on the end. You've got 5 balls in play at any one time. And the idea is that you just have to hit an opponent with a ball. And they have to stand still for 10 seconds, like stuck in the mud. But you find that the beginner, someone who's rubbish, has got as much chance of hitting the world champion on the back because there's 5 balls in play as anyone else. So, and all the rubbish kids at sport, because I wasn't very good at sport at school, I was enthusiastic but not very good, we could get involved as much as everyone else, and everyone was getting as fit and as active. And that really took off. And then all these other sports like ultimate frisbee, tube ball, korfball started coming up and growing and growing. And the sporting spectrum completely expanded. And so now in schools, you've got a choice of 17 or 18 sports on average that you can do. And it really caters for those people that think they can't do sport because they're rubbish, embarrassed, and they don't want to look silly in front of their friends. And so it became a mission. And as we got into the hundreds of these different sports we were trying, and some were mainstream sports trying to help in this way as well. So rugby league, they started doing the Masters where you all wear different shorts.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Wheelchair rugby league. There was tag rugby league. There's all these different versions of
sports, right.
Make it more accessible. So we're reporting on all these. And so it became our mission to make sure that there shouldn't be any barriers for people to have a go at something. Because you get the message across that essentially, for most of us, sport is play. It's having a laugh with your mates, rolling around with your mates, and just putting a laugh on your face, getting the social interaction, combating loneliness, having a laugh, but also at the same time getting a bit fitter.
Yeah.
And then there was these really strange sports that I got asked to cover. It was just, but then again, it was a life-changing thing for one little girl in Cheshire. So it sounds ridiculous because it was a charity thing set up by this policeman in 1980, the World Worm Charming Championships.
Worm Charming.
Yeah, so worm charming, you've got a square metre of earth.
Right.
As many worms out of there as you can in half an hour. But you can't use any water. You can't tug them physically. You've got to entice them out. So the favourite method is twanging, put a pitchfork in, get it vibrating.
Right.
Other people will try music, tap dancing, space hoppers. So I went just to cover the championships. People from all over the world, from Australia, Mexico. This guy from Mexico bought a rain simulator that made the sound of rain on the floor. Anyway, so the regular method was twanging.
Yeah.
Farmer had set the initial record of 511 in 1982, I think it was. His name was Tom Shufflebottom.
511 what?
Yeah, and half an hour. Yeah, he had the technique. And this is near Crewe in Cheshire. And then a girl called Sophie came along in 2009, and she played, I think it was Greensleeves on the recorder.
Right.
And her dad twanged, and they got 563 out of the ground.
In a square metre?
Yeah, yeah. And
did they go deep, or did the worms come to them? Was it like, come to me, worms?
Yeah. And it's taken pretty seriously. But the amazing thing was this little girl called Sophie had never really been into sport. She'd been shy, retiring, never done that one at school. Suddenly, she was on the front page of newspapers like the Telegraph, the Times. She was on national TV and radio in America.
Wow.
And this was Michael Jackson died.
Yeah.
Such an unusual story that she'd broken the world record. And then her confidence soared. She got good at other sports, and it just snowballed. And that one little access into sport or whatever, even though you can't really call it a sport, it's just a fun thing to try.
Competition.
That opened up the door to other sports and gave a confidence and self-belief message, didn't it?
Oh, it's brilliant.
And the World Worm Charming Federation website is one of the best websites you can ever visit.
Say that again. I'm going to put that link up if we can.
The World Worm Charming Federation website is very fun.
Where was I when this competition came alive? I probably do that. I'm a good gardener. I got a green thumb.
Yeah.
There you go.
America, but I think they did try it in Lincolnshire because the soil wasn't right. They didn't get any. But also, they make sure that they're very conscious about the worms' safety, so they make sure that it's dark before they put them back in, so they don't get eaten by the worms. It's by the birds. Yeah.
Very important to think of the worm safety when you go during a competition like that.
Yeah, they have big pits of them, and then they put them all back in the soil when the birds aren't looking.
Right. How do you trick the birds? Hey, there's some seed over there. Oh, it's in the hole.
Get it back in. And then you got the town in Wales, Clonot in Wales, that was really down in the dumps back in the early 80s depression. There was unemployment was rife. It was massive. It used to be a spa town, but then the tourists stopped coming.
Yeah.
So in the early 80s, they had meetings at the local pub. And they thought, what have we got? Well, we can start. There was a bet between a farmer and a local businessman. He said, I bet I think it was a horse and an athlete. So they started a man versus horse race. So every year, you get 22 horses, hundreds of runners racing each other over 22 miles of hills. And only twice, I think, as a human beat the horse. That's been on hot years where the horse gets thirsty and hot.
Right.
So they started that. They started going well. But then they said, what else have we got? We've got the bog. And they've got these peat bogs above their little town. And they started the World Bog Snorkeling Championships.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen that one.
I tried to set the world record there. I tried to do a mile in an hour.
Yeah.
But in March, about 5 years ago, it was just too cold. I only got 3/4 of a mile because you have to swim, but you can't use your arms. So you have a snorkel and mask on, and you just have to flip her with your feet and just bob like that through the peat bog.
Right.
Down. It's only 60 meters, so you do 60 meters up, 60 meters back. And they started getting people from all over the world coming to that.
That does sound entertaining.
It is, and watching it, they get crowds, and then they've started the alternative games, the World Alternative Games, where you have all sorts of chariot racing, stiletto racing, and they've combined all these different sports. So and they get now £6 million a year into that local economy.
Wow.
And it's completely changed. People now work those events.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant what sports can do for your community.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
You don't realise it, do you, I suppose, until you're part of an organisation or a sport, I suppose, a town that may have not had much in the past, much history, and then suddenly they've got bog racing or charity.
Yeah, every 2 years with the World Alternative Games. They've even got a bog cycling bike triathlon where you cycle through a bog.
Yeah.
On that one, they've got a track through the bog, and you have to wear a weighted bike. So all that poke out is your snorkel. You're under the water there cycling.
You're under the water in the bog.
Yeah.
With a snorkel.
Yeah.
Who's come up with that?
Oh, Gordon Green. He's the one that goes and sets it up. There's a whole committee. But it just shows you're absolutely right how the sport world has broadened. And even this year, just trying new sports, going out the other week, filming Hugby, the sport of Hugby, which is rugby for people with visual impairments. So the idea is, because they spoke to people with visual impairments and people that are blind and saying, we don't want to just do tag.
Yeah.
So if you see someone coming towards you, tag, they say, let's have full contact, but hug. So you hug.
All right, I get Hugby now.
Yeah, and so if you can't see, and the other great rule they have, this is what I love about it as well, and it's got so many people that in the past wouldn't have been able to play rugby, but now play every week, well, until the virus. If we're on different sides, you'd say, right, that side's the cats and I'm the dogs. So if I'm running towards you and I'm saying, listening to my teammates, I'm going, dogs, 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 dogs. If I hear you shouting, cat, cat, cat coming towards me, I know, opponent's coming, pass the ball or dodge you.
Right. So it's like Marco Polo sort of rugby style.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. So you know where people are just by listening. And also the ball's got a bell in it.
There you go. That's a sport.
Marco Polo.
Rugby / Marco Polo in a bog.
In a bog, yeah. I love it.
Have I just created something special there or what?
Bog Hugby water polo, yeah.
The only problem is the whole social distancing at the moment.
Oh, at the moment, yeah.
Yeah, you might not be able to. Just an air tag.
Yeah, put a snorkel and goggles on in the lounge and pretend that there's a bog. But there's so much out there now. Honestly, there is a sport for everybody.
Yeah.
daughters who've said they've never really been into sports. So they've come dog dancing, with the sport where you dance with your dogs, and there's so much out there now, which has been great, and it's continuing. So, any suggestions, please?
My dog wouldn't have any of that. If I tried to dance with it, it'd bite me on the arm.
What is he?
Oh, I got a British Bulldog. She's flat out getting up for a pee. So she's asleep right now. I had to actually. I'm in the front, like near the room where she sleeps throughout the day, and I've had to remove her because she snores that loud. And I just wouldn't be able to talk to you without this loud racket in the background. So I've had to remove her.
Oh, they're lovely dogs, though.
Put her in a different room. Yeah.
Those.
Throughout covering all these sports, have you had any like proper weird sort of awkward moments where maybe it wasn't working or?
Oh, well, plenty of times. Yeah. Probably the worst one was when I flew off the horse because it was. I was trying to get into doing a piece on show jumping, and when you get started, it was Ben Maher, who was the show jumping Olympic champion, and he took me on his horse. Well, he took me to his farm. He said, "Oh, I've got a really docile horse that you can ride. She won't do anything. You'll be able to just go over some 4 small fences." Because I've done things like arena polo where you just do that, and you have a stick in an arena. Yeah. It's safe. Anybody can do that, even if you're not really ridden before. You sit on the horse and they trot up and down. But so I was in this arena, got on this white horse and said, right, you put some little fences up, just trot around, then do a little canter and she'll jump them for you. But I got on the horse and I did the wrong signals. I did the polo signals, like, way. And the horse just, what's going on? Just took off. His girlfriend, whose horse it was like this, trying to stop the horse in the yard. And then after going 3 times, it started bucking and I flew literally at Superman 3 meters.
In hindsight, it's funny.
Yeah, I didn't clear a fence and I didn't clear 3 meters, but over a fence and not on the horse. And I landed face down in this mulched sand.
Yeah.
It was pitch black, so I thought, oh my gosh, maybe I'm unconscious. But then I realised it was these 3 boxer dogs had sort of thought I was playing. So they jumped on me, not savagely, but and so that's why it was dark, because I had all this dog fur. So that was great.
That could have possibly been the worst day out ever if you got bucked off the horse, unconscious, and then got attacked by a bunch of vicious bulldogs.
Dogs, yeah.
Boxer dogs, sorry.
Dogs. And then, of course, there was the incident when I was live on air in Australia on the Gold Coast where I fell in the swimming pool.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. It was last minute change of location. We were on the beach on the Gold Coast, and all the middle winners would come down to you, do the live interviews, 6:30 in the morning UK time, 3:30 Aussie time. And then they got stuck in traffic, so we had to run to the swimming pool, me and the cameraman. And Hazel Irvine from BBC Sport was already chatting to the 5 swimmers. And there was 2 pools. They were in the little pool, and there was the big pool where all the holidaymakers were there. But she was in the little pool, and the swimmers were all sat just with their feet dangling in this paddling pool. And Hazel Irvine was sat on the end, but they all have a microphone each. It was my turn, live. I tapped Hazel on the shoulder, and she got up, and then I was on air. So I remember their names, and they're all sat along there. So I remember their names, and I just stood there, and I thought, well, I'll go along the side and talk to them like this, one by one, with my microphone. But I got to the first one here, and then I didn't see that just there was a deep bit of this pool. So I went live on air. Fell in, but then I managed to stand back up and try to carry on, but then there was water in the mic pack and it all...
Yeah.
But then we did the interview properly a few minutes later on a cable mic.
What was going through your head I'm sorry, I'm in tears.
I was thinking
what was going through your head when you like started falling? You're like, oh my God.
Oh, how deep is it? How deep is it? Oh. And then I felt the bottom, and I thought, that didn't happen, did it? No. Let's carry on.
Just got up and cracked on.
The athletes were laughing so much that they couldn't carry on.
Yeah.
And that was really awkward, just trying to keep it going. And they were in stitches, though. Adam Peaty, especially.
Oh, dear.
Wondering, are you going to get sacked? Or what's this going to look like? And then luckily, the social media reaction was so strong, so big.
Mate.
By the time we got back to the beach, 20 minutes later, the security guard said, oh, mate, you're the guy that's just been on the...
No way.
On the internet, or whatever it was, Twitter. He'd already seen it posted. And it was already doing the rounds in the end, and then it went mad.
So you've stood up and just like as a professional, just tried to crack on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, the very first. Sorry about that.
It's almost like you meant to do it.
Yeah. Oh God. No, certainly not. It was such a rush.
Yeah.
It was just trying to think on the feet and trying to keep the bulletin going. Yeah. But no, that was probably easily the most. the time when, oh dear. Well, I hadn't meant to swim. Normally, I'm meant to get in the pool and swim with them.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant, mate. Mate, I've done something obviously not on as big a scale in terms of coverage that it got, but I've done something similar where, and it actually didn't get covered, so I'm sort of admitting it for the first time now. But I was playing for my hometown, against my hometown club, the one left from, and I can't remember whether I was playing for Newcastle or Newcastle Knights or Cronulla Sharks at the time. However, we rocked up to a place called Brookvale Manly Seagulls play. That was my hometown team growing up.
Yeah.
And the team I debuted for, spent many years there and loved it. And we've run out for warm-ups, and my team's gone that way, and the hometown's that way. And I've run over to my team, my hometown team, and I think I was about 5 meters within the circle. They're all stretching in that. And I sort of realised and sort of had to like turn into like a pretend that I was doing it. Like, so yeah, mate, it was awkward for me. My whole family noticed. My friends noticed because they were all there. But fortunately for me, no one else noticed. So, yeah.
So the crowd hadn't really clocked it too much. It was because it was warm-ups. I guess people were still coming in.
But I would have been absolutely burned from it. Like, if I'd sat down and started just stretching away and getting into it. So,
What did your teammates say in the end?
Hey?
What did your teammates say? Did they clock on in the end?
I don't think they one or two of them noticed, but I don't think they really gave it much recognition. To be fair, it's not a great look. Not a great look.
That's a great story, though. That's brilliant.
I've had a couple of silly moments like that in my time.
Yeah.
What out of all the sports you covered, what would you say the most physically demanding sport would be? Besides rugby.
Yeah, well, rugby league's got to be up there in the top three. Rugby league, jump jockey, and actually, this might sound strange, but the professional dancers are right up there in terms of what they put their bodies through.
Yeah.
Because I didn't realise they're gymnasts, they're athletes, they have to take falls, hits. There's lifting, spinning, but also music is mentally challenging as well.
Yeah.
I found really physically hard, sweating, and I couldn't do a lot of the moves they were asking. But yeah, rugby league, when it took the hit in the ball.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I always remember Brian Noble saying, it's like running 100 metres and being hit by a baseball bat.
Yeah.
Because the impact is at speed, isn't it? I'd probably say that was more than American football, just feeling that force, just through the protection of that ball.
Yeah.
And going rolling over 3 times. But also jump jockeys, they're physically...
What's jump jockeys? Oh, where you jump over the...
Yeah, so like AP McCoy, the number of times they fall off, they're sat like that for 3 minutes. Over the they can come off at any moment. And then when they fall off, they could have a horse going over them, another jockey going over them, because they have to crouch like that.
Some of the speeds those horses get to.
Yeah, 30, 40 miles an hour.
Crazy.
And then they get back on with broken bones a few weeks later because they've got to keep racing.
Yeah.
So that's and even more so than things like wing walking, where that's just strapped to, even though it's demanding and physically weird with your senses.
Yeah.
The athletes that do that can do all these moves upside down, and the G-forces are strong. You can get used to that. Whereas, I don't know, the jump jockeys and the rugby league hits. Well, do you get used to them? Those rugby league hits.
Oh, it's funny. I don't get used to the thought of getting hit by them. I find it. I must admit, in my later years, I find it a lot harder to take the contacts at training. Yeah. When it comes to game time, it's easy. Yeah. It's easy.
The adrenaline's go.
Yeah, it's like a natural instinct. You sort of like you just prepare yourself and you get going. Once you've taken your first contact or you've taken your first run of the ball, it's fairly easy. But yeah, I must say the trainings have become a lot tougher in terms of taking contact and that. But it's just it's part and parcel. Really, you have to do it. I'm quite fortunate where I've had quite a lucky career where I haven't had too many injuries from it. So but I could imagine how it'd be a lot tougher mentally for someone that may have been in the same position for played a long career but had sustained a lot more injuries. So,
and I guess the key is just building up over the years the core strength, isn't it, and getting warmed up before a game and doing the right warm ups.
Yeah, that's right.
So when you do get hit, it's not going to have the same impact, is it?
That's right.
Because you probably don't feel it at the time. It's afterwards you might feel it, isn't it? Like,
it's usually for me after games within the 48 hours after games is the toughest period, especially now with the young fella and that he wants to play, the next day and wants to be lifted and carried. It's quite demanding job, but luckily, I absolutely love the depth out of him. So it's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy to push through it, but
it's a great sport to watch and to be involved in. God. And the Masters was great, actually. That was a great concept when I did that over Castleford Tigers. You had this guy, I think he was in his 80s, and he was obviously in the oldest category. So, the short colours now, I think it was 30. If you're in your 30s, you could have full contact. You wear a certain colour shorts.
Yeah.
40s, and then it goes up. But yeah, so for him, it was just a tag. But he was getting stuck in. He was rolling over. It was really good. Really good concept, that. Involved playing together, different generations.
Yeah, it's brilliant. With the actual record that you hold, is that a Guinness Book of Records?
They just said unofficially because they can't find. There's no real sort of barometer for it. No one else has really been involved for so long doing different sports. So they said, well, you can't really measure it because to get a world record, you have to say, I'm going to do this within a certain time.
Yeah, right.
So I did the rolling across the water in a ball for sport relief. That was within, I think, an hour. I had to do a mile, and that was within 2 hours. So I did it in 1:57. Whereas the bog snorkeling, I thought I could swim a mile in an hour.
Yeah.
But I'll do the bog snorkel mile in an hour. But because it was different conditions, I got so cold.
Yeah.
I didn't do it an hour. I could have completed the mile, but it wouldn't be within an hour. So I'd set that. If I'd said initially, let's do it in an hour and a half, they'd said fine. But because they stood there, you said an hour, you didn't do it. I didn't get the record for the bog snorkeling. But no one else has tried it, so I don't know why.
So you don't have too much competition on your hands there.
No. Yeah. And I did the London Sport Relief mile on a space hopper. I don't advise that either.
I think I've seen that, actually.
You bounce back as much as you bounce forward.
Yeah.
It's bad for the back.
I can imagine the knees with that much sort of strain on them.
1 hour 30, that's it. Yeah.
You said one of the toughest sports you've actually taken on is dancing.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit more about Strictly and how you got involved in.
He's worked as a pro, I think, because all these different sports. I thought he's up for things, and so you get a phone call. It was in the summer, and then they're really good the way they get you into it. They give you a few weeks group dancing.
Yeah.
So you're just learning group dance for the launch show, and that's really nice to get to know everybody. You're not doing anything on your own. You're doing a few different bits with different dancers as part of the group. And then you have to do speed dancing where they put you in a group and they just go round and round and they're filming you with iPads. And that's where they're deciding who you're going to be partnered with.
All right.
So then you get partnered with Katia, and then
so it's sort of scientific, like they match you like that, do they?
Then you see who's working well together. And then you have 2 weeks to learn the first dance. So I was with Katia, and it was physically it was brutal because you're starting sort of 7, 8 in the morning, finishing at 9, 10 at night.
Yeah.
And first week I had jive, which was all the time sort of on the feet and all sort of back.
Yeah.
But for 12 hours a day, and by sort of 6 hours a day, by the end of the day, your balls on your feet here were absolute agony and blisters. Not just blisters, just the soreness, plus the knees and the aches and the backs, and you'd be coming back like this at night, and then in the morning getting down the stairs. But top athlete wouldn't have been a problem, but coming down the stairs like this, and then starting again. And that was for 2 weeks. Then you do the first show where the nerves kick in. You've got to do that in front of people. And then it's the same again on the Monday morning. Sometimes the Sunday you meet up. And then you've only got the second dance. You've only got 4 days. So we were doing the lifts, the second dance for the American Smooth. So Katia was doing that catapult onto my shoulder. So I'd be stood there. She'd do a handstand. I'd lift her up. And then try and do so her head would be down here.
Yeah.
And I had so many bruises that week, just up here and around here. And okay, you have a bit of physio.
Yeah.
But 4 long days, and then you get to the end on the Thursday about 8 o'clock, and you're thinking, please, I think we're there. No, let's go again.
Oh dear.
But you need all that just to build up the stamina, build up the fitness, build up the memory, so you can remember dances. And then on the Friday, you go in, you get 3 runs on the dance floor where you do your dance 3 times, and that's it on the Friday. And then Saturday you turn up, you do it with the band for the first time. Then you have a dress rehearsal, and then it's the live thing. So Friday and Saturday, you don't do much there.
Don't do much. Sort of recovery, I suppose.
You wait for the clock, because by then you're meant to know it.
Yeah.
And if you don't know it, then it's too late. And then Saturday night, you go, oh, that's over for another week. Oh, go again with a new dance.
Yeah.
But no, it's amazing fun. It's a great feeling when you get to the Saturday night, you've done your dance, and it's gone okay. It's a great feeling.
What was tougher, preparing and learning new routines, or overcoming the mindset that you've got to go out there and be on live television and do this routine? I know you're in front of the camera all the time, but I could imagine that would be quite. Well, I'd be bricking it, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're just thinking you're sweating, your butterflies are going, you're pacing around, going through it again and again backstage in your head. And then it comes to that moment, you're counting down, you're thinking, in the next 2 minutes, it's it. It's now or never, it's do or die, this is it. These next 2 minutes will decide what happens. And then at that point, you try and just focus. You just try and, it's like going out for a big game. You just try and, you can control what happens if you remember what she's told you, what Kathy's told you, and then you just count it literally out loud. Verbals. And so it'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right foot, left foot. Get into a routine where you're just doing that all the way through, because that takes your mind. You just focus on the partner there.
So you're more or less counting your way through it.
Yeah, she's talking through it as well.
Yeah.
And if it's going well, she's in the middle of the dance, she'll be shouting, "Good boy, good boy." And this is all going on. You're trying to listen to the music, but you're also counting and doing it in like little sections of 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait. Da, da, da. And then before you know it, you're into the final 8, and that's it. And you just say, made a mistake, or put a foot wrong. I mean, usually something goes wrong at some point, but.
Yeah. I can imagine throughout the routine, if you hear a good boy, you like start getting a bit too.
Yeah. Well, the one time I did make a mistake in the Charleston, it was because I was doing, I think it was the scooping, I think something like that, next to Motsy, who's the judge there, and I heard a whooping going, "Yes, woo!" Well, and that put me off, and then I forgot the next bit. Oh, it's a swivel. Oh, to the left.
Oh.
And that's how I made the mistake, because I just took my mind off it for a second. I got into the moment, I got into the atmosphere, let it get to me, and that was it.
It sounds like it's a bit of everything, really, in terms of the challenge of dancing, remembering your steps, the physical side of it, obviously the fitness side of it, and then having to deal with the aspect of the crowd and the cameras and the judges. And
mentally it is. They have to perform well. The dancers are really good performers at it as well. So it's a combination of all those things. Absolutely, like the physical side shocks everybody, because you don't expect dancing to be that physical, but it is when you're doing that week in, week out. The fitness and the stamina, and they have to be a lot fitter as well, because they're doing professional dances as well. Yeah, group dances, their own dances.
With the behind the scenes, is glamorous? Is it look?
Oh, everyone's really supportive. There's like the star bar where you've got your fruit and your chocolate and your crisps and your drinks, and then everyone mingles, and then there's endless wardrobe people, endless makeup people doing your hair. Yeah. Lots of camera crews going around recording little bits. Yeah, it's great. Really good atmosphere. Sort of team spirit. No one's really competing. Everyone's rooting for each other. Yeah. They're very supportive. There really is that sense of support. They don't want anybody to go out. They're doing everything they can to make you look as good as possible.
When you've put in all that work all week, and you go out there and you think you've nailed a performance, how did you find copying some of the judges' opinions? Oh no! And did you have a favourite one, and one that of?
No, that's one of my favourite bits, because I've always thought that's quite funny. And, I've got thick shoulders, and I quite like it when the banter got going. And Craig probably the funniest in terms of, I think it was like, you dance like a 3-year-old, your jock strap was too tight, darling. Was it? I mean, Moxie said I made a need therapy. Bruno said the nation couldn't cope with any more. I loved all those. In fact, just out there, I've got them all framed up the wall, up the stairs.
What the sayings?
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
I'll get one. Hold on.
Go on, show us one.
I'll show you one. So there's one that's that was the Craig Rebel Horwood. It was like a 3-year-old. And they're all up the wall, because there were special moments, and afterwards everyone was so lovely and supportive. Shirley especially was just really reassuring, saying, you did a great job, just try to keep, because her words were just leave any egos at the door. Try listen to your teacher. That's all you need to do. And if you do that, it is. Because no one worries if you make a mistake. If you put your effort in and you've done your best, that's all you can do. And so actually the judges' comments, I found them really funny. Yeah. The more insulting ones are almost the better, because then you get the crowd booing. And crowd on your side. It was all part of the drama and part of the fun.
Well, being growing up a big part of your life in Yorkshire, I think you learn you learn very quickly not to take everything so
totally
serious, and you can have a bit of laugh at yourself. So I suppose that extreme criticism could have been like, I suppose you would have taken it in and just turned into a bit of fun.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
I love it. You're right. You have that sort of thick Yorkshire skin, sort of that spirit, and no one takes it at school. We'd always have a laugh.
Dry sense of humour.
No egos. No one takes each other too seriously. You can't be able to laugh at yourself.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there was definitely some of that bred into me, which it was stood me in good stead throughout life, not just strictly.
But that would have been very, very challenging, and something like I applaud you for, because I don't think that's something you can do very easily, and not many of us could.
But when you think you're dancing your heart out, and then suddenly you hear you dance like a 3-year-old. Oh, okay.
Right. Well, I don't know how to sort of combat that.
Yeah. But then Cassie would always say, just listen to her. If she's happy.
Yeah.
Then if she was happy and proud, then that's all you need to listen to. But the judges are great. They're really nice afterwards. Craig became a really good friend, and Shirley and Motsy brought some of this energy. And they're so good at what they do. They know what they're talking about as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The experts. But they did give you some leeway early on. If you put the energy in, the effort in, they'll recognise.
If you could have taken the whole experience and chose one particular routine that was your favourite, which one would it have been?
Well, actually, it was the quick step, because it was fast. It was a lot to remember, and it had gone so badly wrong all week. There was the 10th step, and because it's so quick, if you get one step wrong, it's like a pack of dominoes. The whole thing falls apart.
Yeah.
I did that on the Thursday in the local training room. It was just this. It was a simple step, but mentally it became a block. It was like 2 quick steps and a kick, and then 8, but where your feet have to crisscross 8 times.
Yeah.
And it just drove me mad. And then in dress rehearsal, it was so bad. It was like that. People were look. The cast was like, oh dear. And Cassie just went away and was very quiet. And it was. I'd been ill that week, and a bit of man flu that week as well. So I'd been falling over in training, just thinking I can't go on, but I did. And then on the actual night, the actual performance, I remember it was like a horse approaching a fence, and I was building up to that 10th step. It was all slow motion. And I remember kicking that foot out. I remember the moment it landed, and it landed well. And then every other step followed, and I heard Cassie go, "Good boy," and every other that dance just went like a dream.
You just thought to yourself, you heard the good boy, and you just thought, "I'm on here. I'm on
here." Again, we ended up at this mock-up fish and chip shop, and she fell to the ground in tears.
Yeah.
And I just hugged her, and she was like crying, and we got a 9, and they said it was a great dance. We got over 32 on the leaderboard, I think up to 32 on the leaderboard. So everybody was like ecstatic. It was such a high. That was definitely the best dance, and that was our best moment.
Do you feel like you almost could have just done a microphone drop and gone, "I'm leaving you on that one"?
Yeah, exactly. Because if it'd gone from that far, it's like, I suppose I compared it to being like 3-0 down.
Yeah.
In the FA Cup, and coming and winning off the extra time off the bar, or scoring a late try, just in the last few seconds before the hooter, just pulling it out of the can from nowhere, pulling the hat. That's what it felt like. It was that euphoria you get from that sort of win.
Yeah. That's brilliant, mate. That's brilliant. I was going to ask you a question about over your career as a journalist and covering a lot of these different sports, and now being on Strictly, if you'd actually collected any good memorabilia over your time, but I think you've sort of answered it with
yeah. I've got
anything else interesting that you may have got?
Well, you get your World Cup passes and your Olympic passes.
Yeah.
And you get your mascots, you bring home from these various events. But yeah, I think these are definitely the highlight.
That's brilliant.
Over the wall, the comments.
Yeah.
Stay with me. Plus, you strip your annual, of course. I've got that. So that was pretty special.
I love that. You know what? I love that. I think that's a great idea for everyone, because I'm a bit similar in terms of I find the humorous side in criticism. So I think that'd be a brilliant thing for people.
Things that Coach has said in the past or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, brilliant.
No, they do. They motivate you, because every time you pass them, you think, "Oh yeah, that was a good night."
Yeah.
And I've seen quite a few 3-year-olds dance well, actually, so I'll take that as a compliment. Yeah.
Mate, there's some on YouTube channels these days. They're not only stars; they're absolutely millionaires.
Yeah.
That's a compliment, mate, isn't it? Something I've been asking everyone, if you could start the 21-day lockdown all over again.
Yeah.
Not that anyone wants to do this all over again, but if you could start again and you had to choose 3 people that weren't of any relation to you or your pets, who would you choose and why?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, obviously, so we'd have a good laugh, wouldn't we?
Yeah, we'd have a good laugh. And you could teach me some dance moves.
Yeah. I think Tom Hanks has always struck me as a good bloke.
Right.
Even though he's had the virus.
Yeah.
The Tom Hanks yourself.
Yeah. There's that side of it. Yeah. Good bloke. Would have some great stories, but he's got the virus.
Well, he's had the virus. I think he's over it now.
Yeah.
Let's go for Lady Gaga as well. She'd be entertaining.
Right.
Put some music on.
That's good.
Rita Ora.
Red Aura.
Yeah.
There you go.
James Haskell. He'd be a good laugh, wouldn't he?
Right.
He'd keep the party going. I've done a bit with him in the past. But
Have you?
Yeah. I think you want lively people, don't you? But he might be too.
Might be.
He likes his pranks. He plays a lot of pranks. Yeah.
Do you think there's only like so many days you can put up with pranks? So that's the thing.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's good. You need someone calming down, don't you? So maybe Yoko Ono could calm us down, couldn't she?
Yeah, that's right. Well, you know, you got a lot of musicians there, so you could always do it and play good tunes.
Yeah.
They sound like some good ones, mate. And just to finish on, I was going to ask that I've asked everyone else, just a message that you would send to people watching this that may be struggling during this time or during this time of uncertainty. Just a message you'd send to them, you know, from your point of view and your side of things, and how you see the next few days going, few uncertain weeks going.
Yeah, well, it is an uncertain time, and I think the key message I'd say is reach out and talk to people you know that maybe haven't spoken to for a while on the phone. If you've got an iPad or you can see them in vision, it really helps to connect if you can see them on your phone. Do learn a bit of new technology you probably haven't used before. Like I'm with a Zoom and Zumba. Go and try a class with people you even don't know, because you'll find people are so friendly out there. Everyone is pulling together. Everyone is willing to reach out to people, especially on their own. If you're well enough, also do exercise. Join an exercise class. There's no shame if you have a rest during it or you do it at your own pace. Make sure you try and do something just to keep active mentally and physically and connect with people. Technology is there now. It's all out there. You can feel like you're in the same room. You don't have to feel lonely or isolated. As long as you're well enough, get up and do something physical every day and active, and do it online on one of these apps, because it will make you feel more connected. And get outside for some fresh air on your own when you can, because that's important too. But we just got to keep believing that we'll come through it. Stay away, stay at home, stay away from people, but connect like this on the various video apps, because it does feel like you're actually connected, doesn't it? You feel like you're there.
That's it.
I could reach out and touch your lion.
High five.
High five, exactly.
I'll add on to that part. Why it's important, and the government's just released some information, and this isn't false news, by the way. That the actual numbers have started dipping in actual cases found, and for the locals who may be watching this of Leeds and North Yorkshire, I believe we're about mid-table in terms of cities that actually have the amount of people with symptoms of the coronavirus at 113. So if we just sit tight and fight down on over the next couple of days and just, you know, make the short-term sacrifice, we'll get through it, and we'll get through it successfully. I think North Yorkshire's got about 88 or so. So it's quite a vast area, I suppose, North Yorkshire, it's working. That's the point.
Oh, it is.
Working, and we're going to get through this. So
the more we do lockdown, the quicker we'll get through it.
That's right. I believe it. So thank you very much for coming on the show today, Mike. I was about to say for having me, because I'm used to you having the mic and asking the questions. But thank you very much for coming on the lockdown today with myself.
It's been absolutely all absolutely brilliant to see you again, Adam. I love it. Absolutely great. I feel like we've been chatting 5 minutes. We've probably done over now. It's been brilliant. Thank you for having me on.
Appreciate it, mate. Thanks once again.
Cheers, Adam.